Welcome in, everyone, to Allegiant Stadium. Your Vegas Nation crew, Cassie Soto and Sam Gordon, here after a thrilling 35-32 overtime victory for the Raiders, defeating the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. Sam, the Silver and Black are headed to the playoffs for the first time since 2016. When you saw the beginnings of this game and how it progressed, and then we get into overtime, would you have thought that the Raiders would have come away with this win tonight?
No, not after the way that they ended the regulation, Cassie. Justin Herbert was absolutely electric. He was phenomenal, showing all that superstar potential. Even though he didn't win the game, it was a superstar kind of performance. And the Raiders endured that, and they figured out a way in overtime to win the game. Of course, we know they didn't need to win the game. Rich Bisaccia acknowledged after the game that there was some consideration about playing for the tie, in which case the Chargers would have also made the playoffs. But let's be clear, there's a moxie, there's a resolve that this team has. It hasn't been pretty the last 4 weeks, but they found a way to do it, closing the season on a 4-game winning streak. Margin of victory for those 4 games total, Cassie, 12 points. So all these games nail biters, and the Raiders know how to win these close games. It's something they've done all year long, and they did it in the biggest game of the season tonight. I'm still not exactly sure how, but they made it happen, and they are going to Cincinnati to play the Bengals in the playoffs.
Yeah, and much like the season, this game had very high highs and very low lows for this team. But again, we talked about it, that this team overcame adversity to get here. The Raiders players and Rich Bisaccia re-emphasized it in the post-game press conferences that they were cramping up on the sidelines, but they knew that they had to get going. And they also got going because the crowd was behind them. Sam, can we talk about the energy that was in this building when the Raiders needed it the most?
Second to none. I mean, in terms of atmospheres, this is one of the most rowdy, raucous atmospheres that I've ever been in my tenure as a journalist. Derek Carr, after the game, acknowledged it was by far the best home crowd that the Raiders had this year at Allegiant Stadium. It was unbelievable. It felt like a playoff game, and for all intents and purposes, it was. The Raiders and Chargers both needed, again, at least a tie, but it's playing for victory, right? I mean, these are high-level competitors on both sides of the field. So the crowd really brought it, and I think showcased on a national stage what kind of football town Las Vegas can become. I think we're still a long ways away. We saw plenty of visiting fans in the crowd throughout the course of the season, but it was a lot of silver and black today. Of course, some powder blue as well. A lot of silver and black, though, and they were loud throughout the course of the game. It was an unbelievable atmosphere. Cincinnati
on Saturday, super wild card weekend. The Raiders have played this team. Yeah. They lost to this team this season. It's a short week now for the Raiders to get into the playoff mindset now, where they don't want to be one and done. What is that mindset going in?
It's, I think, the same mindset the Raiders have been operating with the last month, right? It's just win by any means necessary. I think even though the defense really collapsed down the stretch, and certainly in regulation today, this has been a defensive team. And you go back to the game against Cincinnati, I believe it was in November, that was a defensive game as well, right? That the Cincinnati ended up breaking open in the fourth quarter, but very, very close game. Not a super explosive passing game for Joe Burrow, who finished the regular season strong and made a late push towards an MVP in the MVP race. Not going to win the award, but he made a push. So this Bengals offense is humming at a different level. The Raiders are going to have to be much better defensively, maybe force a couple more turnovers like they did today in order to keep that game close. And then when those games are close, it seems like they have the formula, right? Daniel Carlson, get him in range. He's been automatic and be opportunistic. So I think that's going to be the formula. We'll see how things shake out, but the Raiders have been in playoff mode for a month. Nothing really changes.
All right. Well, the Raiders once again making it to the playoffs for the first time since 2016 with that 35-32 overtime victory over the Chargers. He is Sam Gordon. I'm Cassie Soto. For more Raiders news, head on over to vegasnation.com.